Hi students, I am Senthil Kumaran, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, Erode Senkundar Engineering College, Autonomous. So today we are going to discuss about the Environmental Science and Engineering, Unit 1, Introduction part of the ecosystem. Do you know any idea about the ecosystem? So before going to the ecosystem, first you know about what is the meaning of ecology. So ecology means it is the study of the ecosystem. So in all the living organisms depends upon the non-living being component like air, water, soil, sunlight, sky, etc. So each living component interacts with non-living being component like this for their basic requirements for different ecosystem. So the correct definition for the ecology is the study of interactions among all organisms or group of organisms with their environment. So if the environment consists of both living being component and a non-living being component, the living being component is otherwise called as the biotic component. Bio means living being. So the non-living being component is otherwise called as the abiotic component. So the interaction between the biotic and abiotic component is called as the ecosystem. So the study of that ecosystem is called as the ecology. So finally we have to conclude what is the meaning of ecology. Ecology is the study of ecosystem. Okay. Then we are going to the definition for the ecosystem. So ecosystem is the basic functional unit of ecology. So the ecosystem word is derived from the Greek. So the correct definition for the ecosystem is the interaction between the biotic and abiotic component or a group of organisms interacting among themselves and with the environment is known as ecosystem. So the ecosystem is a community of different species interacting with one another and with the non-living being component or non-living environment enhancing energy and matter. So the ecosystem means the interaction or interrelationship between the biotic and the abiotic factor in the environment. Okay. So simply here I given the diagram. So component of ecosystem, totally the two components. One is the living being component, another one is the non-living being component. So the examples for the living being component, you know very well about the living being component. So they are mainly classified into three types. One is the producer, then consumer, then last one is the decomposer. So these are all the examples for the living being components. Then non-living being component examples: sunlight, air, water, land, sky, etc. So these are all the different types of the non-living being component. So the ecosystem means the relationship between the living and a non-living being component. So the one important thing, so all the living being components depends upon the non-living being component like air, water, sunlight and land. So without the living being component, there is the possibility of the non-living being component in our environment, but without the non-living being component, there is no possibility of the living being component in our environment, because of all the living being component depends upon the primary things like air, water, earth and sunlight. Earth means land. Okay. Next concept, biome. So the important thing, biome means small ecosystem. So in our environment having the large number of ecosystem are available. For example, pond ecosystem, lake ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, desert ecosystem, like this. So in these things, the small kind of the ecosystem is called as the biome. That means a kind of organisms which can live in a particular ecosystem depends on their physical and metabolic adaptations to the environment of that place. So based on the environmental place, the ecosystem which can be classified into different types. That one type of ecosystem is called as the small ecosystem is called as the biome ecosystem. Okay. So the biome is the small ecosystem within an ecosystem. Small ecosystem within an ecosystem is called as the biome. Okay. Then types of the ecosystem. So the ecosystem is mainly classified into two types. One is the natural ecosystem, another one is artificial or man-made ecosystem. The natural ecosystem, based on the structure, it can be classified into two types. One is the terrestrial ecosystem, another one is aquatic ecosystem. Terrestrial means land related, that means soil related. The soil related ecosystem is called as the terrestrial ecosystem. So there are terrestrial ecosystem further classified into various types. One is the forest ecosystem, another one is grassland ecosystem, then last one is desert ecosystem. So the forest, grassland, desert, all of them based on the land or earth related, so that it is called as the terrestrial ecosystem. The another main natural ecosystem is the aquatic ecosystem. Aqua means related to water. So based on the salt content in the water, it can be classified into two types. One is the marine aquatic ecosystem and the another one is freshwater aquatic ecosystem. Marine means you know very well about the sea, ocean. So the marine water, sea water, ocean water containing the large amount of the salt, so that it is the mainly classified into the marine ecosystem. Then freshwater ecosystem further classified into the based on the movementation of water, it can be classified. One is the lotic ecosystem, another one is lentic ecosystem. Lotic means moving water or running water. Example for the running water lotic ecosystem is spring, stream, river. So these are all the movementation of water from one place to another place. So these are under the freshwater ecosystem. Then lentic means standing water. There is no movementation of the water. It can be stand upon particular place like lake, pond, pools, well. So these are all the some of the examples for lentic ecosystem. So the example for the artificial or man-made ecosystem is the cropland. That means garden, botanical garden. You know very well the botanical garden. Then dams, zoo. So these are all the for some examples for the artificial or a man-made ecosystem. Okay. So it is the natural ecosystem. Terrestrial means land, related to land and types of vegetation. So example grassland, forest, desert ecosystem already discussed. Okay. Then aquatic freshwater ecosystem, the two types, one is the running water ecosystem and another one is the standing water ecosystem. So the examples rivers, streams are the running water, pond, lake are the standing water ecosystem. And man-made or artificial ecosystem examples cropland, gardens, zoo, like structure and component of an ecosystem. So it is the one of the important question, 8 more question, structure and component of the ecosystem. So the total organisms like relationship between the biotic and abiotic relationship can be explained in the structure and components of an ecosystem. So the main component of the biotic is the abiotic and biotic component. So the relationship between the biotic and abiotic is called as the ecosystem. So in this ecosystem having the mainly two types. One is the biotic and abiotic. Biotic means producers, consumers and decomposes. Abiotic means related to sunlight, water, land, sky, another like this. So what are the various relationship between this biotic and abiotic component in these two things that can be explained into the structure and the components of an ecosystem. So it will be explained in the next class. Okay, thank you.